Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hartford Whalers expansion franchise here on NHL 24. We're still rocking here on NHL 24 as we're now here in year 5 of this Hartford Whalers expansion franchise. As Montour off the rush, a one-timer there in the slot for Mark Scheifele was knocked away by Sorokin as Pelech able to get it to Timo Meier, his 31st game as a member of the New York Islanders as he was acquired at last year's trade deadline, coming over in an in-division trade with the New Jersey Devils. And now Hartford with it as they enter this game at 5-5. The New York Islanders, the top team at this point in the early goings in the NHL, as Landeskog there, a chance off a Scheifele feed, forehand, and a good stop there by Sorokin. As still in the zone is Hartford. Now Noah Dobson will take it back the other way for the Islanders. And that's going to be disrupted by Montour. Now Barzal with it as he has 16 points already in 12 games for the Islanders. And as I said, they enter on an 11-game point streak with the best record right now in the NHL. Now Dobson behind the net for Bo Horvat. Not to mention they also did sign Quinn Hughes in free agency, so just a huge addition here as we're going to have to face him over the course of this franchise. As Scheifele there, a second chance off the post there, short side forehand, and so get that back for Andrew Peeke. Centering pass there, no one home. Mangiapane almost had a piece as now full pressure for Hartford. Mangiapane forces a turnover, a quick shot. And another great chance by Hartford. This is exactly how we started last episode. Came out guns a-blazing on the opening night here with Game 1 of this Year 5 season against Washington, but we couldn't get any goals despite a bunch of significant chances. As now we are able to knock that one out of the zone. And there's the first look at Quinn Hughes as he feeds Kyler Yamamoto. Now Wahlstrom. Islanders need a line change as Yamamoto forehand. And that's exactly what happened in the last game. We had all the pressure going, a bunch of chances, and then Washington, like New York here, just takes it down on their initial rush. They get a goal, and an easy one there for Yamamoto. Just didn't really have to do much. And we do have Daniil Tarasov in goal as our backup goaltender because our starter, Yaroslav Askarov, in Game 4 of this season, suffered an injury, and he will be out for another month. So Noah Dobson, his 12th assist, now puts him at 5th on the NHL leaderboard. And the Islanders quiet this home crowd early on in Game 11 for Hartford in this Year 5 season. And now off the draw, there's Anders Lee, already 6 goals in this campaign so far. Now it's in Romanov. Now for Gambrell. I'll just dump that one into the corner for Jordan Spence. And I'm pretty sure his brother Malcolm Spence, I think that's his brother, is a healthy scratch tonight for the Islanders. Cole Sillinger now on the third line as he moves up due to the injury of Leo Carlsson, who is day-to-day. A big loss for Hartford, especially offensively. And now Jordan Spence with it behind the net, up the boards. As that one going to be picked off by Anders Lee. A tough pass there, and a good save by Tarasov, getting over off a good chance in front. Can't turn it over in that spot now. Roslovic for Sillinger, 2 former Blue Jackets teammates, and I think we have 4 or 5 former Blue Jackets on this roster. Jordan Spence for Roslovic. As he gets that over for Daniil Chaika, hit off the puck into the zone though for Grigory Denisenko, and again Sorokin the save. Simon Tyval over for Ian Mitchell, and a good feed there for Kaiser. Daniil Chaika with it now for Montour. Now Denisenko, as he gets for Jacob Perreault, making his debut here with the Hartford Whalers. It's been a long ride, 5 years since being drafted in the expansion draft from Anaheim, and he finally suits up in a Hartford Whalers sweater. You gotta love it. Only one previous game of NHL action, so not his NHL debut, but his first NHL action in 5 years. One of 4 remaining members from our expansion draft. Also, Daniil Tarasov minding the net tonight was one of them, coming over from Columbus. Denisenko fighting for it now in the corner as he loses possession for Horvat, as he'll feed Quinn Hughes up for Timo Meier. Meier loses possession as Sami Maki gets that up for Mangiapane. The captain had a nice chance early on now for Besser as he couldn't get a clean one off. Meier now over for Ian Mitchell for Quinn Hughes. Now Bo Horvat. Horvat is able to get into the zone despite a defensive attempt there by Andrew Kopp, as that is going to be offside. 6:34 remaining in the first period. Hartford has controlled most of the play, but New York shown some signs of aggression here, as Noah Dobson not only among the league leaders in assists but also hits, as they are pretty deep on defense. The forward's a little bit older, as tie up there. Landeskog now back for Provorov, who will take it into the zone. Good play there by Romanov. Pokes that away, gives it over for Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes double team there. Scheifele now for Zadina. In front for Scheifele, the one-timer, and again Sorokin closes the door. Another great chance here as a redirection there. Provorov from the point, redirected by Landeskog, was saved again by Sorokin, as Yamamoto trying to get a chance the other way, already with the goal in this game. Loose puck picked up by Romanov into the neutral zone, and Wahlstrom will dump that in. Picked up by Provorov. Provorov now behind the net, up for Scheifele, as he needs to get off the ice. Need a line change, at least on his behalf. Now Provorov leading the charge again. Provorov in front for Landeskog. That one blocked in front behind the net, picked up by Adam Pelech. Pelech now for Ritchie. And he's going to be knocked into the Hartford bench. What a hit that time along the boards. I think that was Jack Rozovic, as he is now with it into the zone. Jack Rozovic in front for Landeskog, and he shoots and he scores. Jack Rozovic, how about that? Knocking someone into the friendly bench here for us, leading the charge the other way, and then setting up Gabriel Landeskog, his 4th goal now as a member of the Hartford Whalers. What a shot there, short side forehand, beating Ilya Sorokin. And Jack Rozovic, talk about a killer shift there, knocking someone into your own bench, and then leading the charge the other way, setting up the game-tying goal as the Whalers on the board here at home from the XL Center. And Landeskog now the lone leader in points on this team with 11. Tom Wilson mostly playing on the 3rd line at 10. Very good production from him. Now at center ice for the faceoff as Rozovic wins that. And now Tom Wilson into the zone. Let's get another one here. Rozovic tried another pass there, and that was intercepted. And now Gambrill dumps that in for Andrew Peak there to pick it up for Hartford. Peak now for Cole Sillinger. As I said earlier, up on the 3rd line now with Leo Carlson out. Jacob Pearl taking his spot on the 4th line. And now Tom Wilson using that body, and Rozovic in front. And that was closed off by Sorokin. Rozovic back with it. Nothing doing as Adam Pelech gets it for Gambrill. And so he'll dump that in for the Islanders. Not much creativity offensively for New York. Just a lot of dump and chase to the name of their game so far. Montour now up for Mangiapane. Mangiapane spins away from a couple defenders that were in pursuit as he was knocked down. And Pelech, a good pass there for Gage Gonzalez, former Hartford Whaler. 4 goals already in his first 12 games with the Islanders. Only 4 in 33 with Hartford last season, as that will take us into the first intermission. A very good, exciting first period of play, and we were able to get that late answer via the feed from Jack Rozovic to Gabriel Landeskog as we outshot them 12-2 in the second period, but we're still tied on the scoreboard, and that's what matters. As we saw in the last episode, outshot Washington by a ton, but lost 5-1 somehow. Hopefully not the case in this one, as Mark Scheifele pushing his man off the draw, and Zadina into the zone, and he'll be knocked down hard, and that is going to be a delayed penalty. Charging is the call on Matthew Barzal, the leading man in points on this Islanders team. And that one a questionable call, but you really don't see him throwing the body around like that. Very aggressive. Maybe trying to answer for what went on there in the first period when Rozovic forced a man into the bench. And you see their hits again. Noah Dobson continuing to climb up the leaderboard. But we will get our first look at this Hartford Whalers power play early on in this second period. And a good win there by Bo Horvat, one of the veterans for the Islanders, as Tom Wilson back into the zone. Landeskog, a good feed for Scheifele. A good move there, went backhand, and Sorokin snatched that one with the glove. What a game so far for the Whalers, playing against the hottest team in the NHL right now, out shooting them 13-2 to this point. Scheifele will win that back for Gurianov. His shot, I think, went off the post. And now back for Provorov, a weak one, but a rebound was picked up by Pelech as he gets the backhand clear there into the neutral zone. Now Landeskog spins away from a man, keeps possession. Landeskog for Scheifele. And now it's going to be picked up by Tom Wilson. In front, Tom Wilson, a shot, rebound. Picked up by Tom Wilson again, a backhand spinorama. And already, I think, 3 chances on this power play with 1:01 remaining. as we'll get the draw here to the left of Ilya Sorokin. And Landeskog knocked down by Dobson as he is asserting his authority in this game as he just continues to climb up that hits leaderboard, unless it's just been showing us the same animation every time. I haven't been paying attention, but now Andrew Kopp on the draw as again Bo Horvat will win that one. Romanov up for Gambrill out of the zone, poked away by Zadina as now Mangiapane with it, and he loses possession there at the logo as Gambrill will dump that in as this Hartford power play dwindles down. Zadina loses possession behind the net. Gambrill, great job on the forecheck on the penalty kill here as Montour gets it for Mangiapane. 18 seconds now for Hartford in front. Besser, that was blocked, and Mangiapane will head to the box as he trips Quinn Hughes. So 12 seconds of 4-on-4 as we will go down shorthanded, not able to answer on our first power play. Now an offensive zone draw for the Islanders. Haven't seen Daniil Tarasov much at all, which is how we like it, as Pelech, a shot in front blocked by Montour. As now New York to the power play, and they are going to call a delay a game here. That is just a rough one, and that's Sammy Maki, one of our best defenders there at the back end, and New York is going to have a long-winded 5-on-3. You cannot have that happen. So 17:35 left in this second period as we do get the face-off when Andrew Peak will get the clear there into the neutral zone as Yamamoto now back for New York. Johnson Fialbi makes a man miss there. Brock Nelson in front. Tough angle as Tarasov gets the save. Now loose puck, Peak does pick it up, and he does get the clear there. Giving chase is Rozovic as he does get it. Rozovic, a weak shot that time with a contested man on him. As now Yamamoto back the other way for Johnson Fialbi. A shot that went wide. Tarasov sprawling out with the glove. Back to the point for Quinn Hughes as he did draw that first penalty. Now Rozovic will get it out of the zone, still with it. Great follow through that time, and eventually does just dump it in. Wahlstrom now with it for the Islanders. 20 seconds remaining on this 5-on-3. Nelson for Yamamoto. Back for Quinn Hughes. Up for Nelson. Now Quinn Hughes to the side of the net. And Tarasov is able to freeze that one. So just a few seconds now left on the 5-on-3. Good job there by the Whalers. And Tarasov stepping up as well. Let's get this face-off win with our man coming out of the box. But we do not, although they do have a miscue there. Couldn't handle it. As Mitchell now up for Horvat. Centering pass there for Timo Meier. Backhand save by Tarasov as we're now back at full strength. Another man out of the box, which would be Sammy Maki. Now Montour just leading the charge there, as that's going to be gloved by Sorokin. Good chance the other way. And Hartford will get it. Besser, just a weak backhand chance there off the face-off win. As now holding Romanov against the boards. Now with it in the corner, try to back pass there. And still going for it. Look at him throwing the body there now against Quinn Hughes. Forecheck tremendous here from Brock Besser on this shift. Montour shifting away from a few men. Besser trying to get Mangiapane there in front. Now New York back the other way. Maki will pickpocket that though. Into the zone for Besser now. For Mangiapane, a 2-on-1 Mangiapane. Trying a little extra move there. Maybe she should just go cross crease. But another offensive zone draw here. Good chance by Hartford. Ilya Sorokin 7-1 to start this season. Hartford up 8-4. Make it 9-4 in the face-off circle so far. Slap shot there, ricochets to Landeskog, now back to the point for Montour. Scheifele, and he gets that over for Landeskog in the corner, being held up by Noah Dobson, as that will be kicked up for Kyler Yamamoto. Back the other way for the Islanders. Yamamoto to the corners, try to centering pass, will be picked up by Landeskog. And see, we'll give that for Sammy Maki. Maki already with 3 goals, eclipsing last year's total of 2 goals. In just 10 games. Landeskog in the slot, a shot. And that is snagged by Sorokin, flashing the leather. Robbing Landeskog, who is going for number 2. Another offensive zone face-off for the Whalers. As Scheifele gets that back for Jordan Spence, a weak shot. Now Chaika in front for Scheifele. Landeskog a rebound, saved by Sorokin. Landeskog will try to get Zadina, who whiffed on the one-timer. Now Spence for Scheifele. His shot was wide. Sorokin sprawling full pressure now for the Whalers. Still with it. Now against the boards, Wahlstrom being fought there by Zadina. Now behind the net. Zadina just pestering him as Wahlstrom does finally find some room, but turns it over to Guryanov. And now Perreault with it. Back for Spence. His shot. Another glove save by Sorokin. And in these 2 games we've watched so far this season, going back to week 1 or game 1, against Philip Gustafsson. He was just phenomenal, as now Dobson up to number 3 on the leaderboard, trailing the league leaders by just 1. As Jacob Perreault will not win that draw, but we do get it on the tie-up. Denisenko for Chaika from the point. Redirection, and Sorokin adjusts. And a delayed penalty, as the Islanders will go back to the power play. That's going to be Jacob Perreault to the penalty box, 2 minutes for hooking. 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. Let's see if we can make it 3 for 3. Bo Horvat does win that as expected. Broken stick there, and we catch a break as Provorov clears it the other way. Broken stick as he does kick it to Noah Dobson there in the corner. Timo Meier now against the boards, being pestered again by Cole Sillinger this time. Bo Horvat gets knocked down to the ice by Tom Wilson, setting the tone as Dobson does lose the handle. Peak for Sillinger, now out of the zone for Tom Wilson. Throwing the body, that's what he's here for. Now Tom Wilson wins that puck battle. Back the other way, Wilson a shot. Kicked away by Sorokin. Provorov now for Wilson. Backhand chance save Sorokin, as Horvat will get that up the ice for Timo Meier. More than half of this power play killed off now. A rush though for the Islanders. Timo Meier centering pass picked up by Horvat, and that's off the post. Wide open net as Tarasov does recover, and then Ian Mitchell snipes him. Or I'm sorry, Matthew Barzal was there to deflect that one in. And Tarasov had a good series there, but ultimately Matt Barzal does get that one home. And you can't fault Tarasov there. Good shot there. And I thought that was just a clean shot from Mitchell, but they did credit Barzal with that one, and I guess he did redirect that one, so you really can't fault Tarasov on that one, as the Islanders do cash in finally on their 3rd power play, as we now trail 2-1. Matt Barzal now 17 points, tied for 3rd in the league with Nick Suzuki of the Montreal Canadiens. Now 7:54 remaining in this second period. Let's see if we can answer back like we did earlier. We've certainly had the majority of the chances, as now a good pass there into the zone for Besser. Besser now behind the net, working from the side of it, as he really couldn't get anything off. Good defense there by Quinn Hughes. And with that, Noah Dobson now up to number 1 on the board with 35 hits. What does he have, like 5 or 6 already in this game? Cop now off the face-off. Maki backhand pass for Besser. Cop for Montour from the point. That was deflected into the corner. Taken back by Hughes, now up the boards, as Islanders trying to get it in. Cop there, good on the back check though. Ritchie now a good feed for Anders Lee, who is sitting right at the front door. And the Islanders get another one here promptly. And that's Anders Lee's 7th goal of the season. One behind Matt Barzal, who just scored his 8th, I believe. And Anders Lee unaccounted for. Still kicking strong here in an age 36 season, I believe, at this point. The captain of the Islanders, as they're certainly trying to get back to the playoffs. At this rate, they might win the President's Trophy, as Anders Lee his 9th point now, trailing a few players there. Quinn Hughes has 11 assists to start his Islanders campaign in his first 12 games, but no goals yet. And hopefully the first one is not tonight. Zadina now, as we definitely need to answer at this point, trailing by 2 in the late stages of this second period. Anders Lee, a good hit there by Landeskog, as Ritchie now for the Islanders towards the net, and Tarasov will knock that down and cover it up. In this game, we've also introduced these alternate uniforms. I don't really even remember creating these when I started this series, like I guess 2 years ago at this point, but I figured we'd unveil them at this point. I don't know how much I like them, but a good change of pace from what we've had. Now Zadina working into the zone relentlessly. Landeskog. Now Montour ends up with it, as that is kept in by Sami Maki. Back for Montour from the point. He'll rip that, and that was denied by Sorokin. How is that saved? How is that kept out of the net? Zadina, a prime chance in front, and now at this point I'm convinced the computer does not want us to score. Gustafsson had like 40 saves against us in the last game, and now Sorokin with like 30 almost. And now the Islanders back the other way. Johnson Fahalvi finds some space, turns away there from Chaika. That pass a little wide, but Gonsalves able to pick it up. Now Johnson Fahalvi, as that one was poked away from Tarasov. Simon Taval. And now Chaika with it up for Denisenko. Landeskog now into the zone, as Ian Mitchell will feed that up. Now into the neutral zone. Eventually picked up by Jacob Perreault. Perreault fighting towards the net. Loose puck, as I think Denisenko got a quick shot off there. Nothing doing on the rebound. Now Timo Meier. Meier brings it in for the Islanders. Starting pass there for Kaiser. The defense getting up there. And just 10 shots in this game for the Islanders. Now into the corner, Chaika with it. As he is going to enter. Daniil Chaika leading the charge. Peels back, excuse me. As that goes straight into the corner now. Perreault fighting there with Barzal, who kicks it away for Kaiser. A few seconds here for the Islanders to get a shot off, but they will not, as it is a 3-1 hockey game now after 2 periods. We succumb to 2 more goals, only 10 shots on goal for the Islanders, and 3 of them have found the back of the net. So the 700 save percentage for our starting goalie, but one of those a clear-cut chance on the power play that he had absolutely no chance of stopping. So Tarasov 7 saves on 10 shots, Sorokin 28 saves on 29 shots. And hopefully we can get a couple more to fall here and at least get into overtime against the Islanders as they look to advance or extend their point streak to 12 games, a clean dozen. But we don't want to let that happen here on home ice. Landeskog now tried the centering pass as Zadina does end up with it. Thought a hook there by Pelech, but no call. As Zadina, good fight there, but Barzal ends up with it now for Horvat. Horvat enters the zone. A shot there, gloved by Tarasov. 14-7 face-off advantage, now 14-8 for Hartford as Horvat in front knocked off the puck. Maki up the boards there for Filip Zadina. And so flick that one into the corner. Dobson with it now for New York. And so he gets set up for Horvat. Horvat intercepted in the neutral zone by Zadina. And Sami Maki does get that up for Landeskog. Tries to split defenders into the zone. And we get the goal on the rebound. Filip Zadina, his 7th of the season. And we needed a quick answer here to start the 3rd period. And we get it. And a great feed there up for Landeskog, who split the defenders. Gets the shot on. And Zadina there to put the rebound home, as he's been phenomenal here on our top line after signing that 4-year contract this past offseason. And we've mentioned the remaining survivors from our original expansion draft, and he is one of the 4 coming over from Detroit. So a feed there from Scheifele gets the assist, so make it 10 points for him. Landeskog also gets the assist, so 2 points for him, as our top line has contributed both goals now, as we have a 3-2 hockey game here from the XL Center, and a quick rip the other way was blocked to our delight, as Landeskog now again leading the charge into the zone. Loose puck picked up by Pelech. Still with it as he swerves away from Zadina, but serves it up there for Montour. Gets over for Maki, who intercepts it, or has it intercepted by Wahlstrom. And now for Yamamoto. Back to the point for Pelech. Now for Dobson. Over for Wahlstrom, who tried to lead past there. A little give and go, but nothing doing as Brock Besser getting mugged. Now Scheifele will give that over for Montour. Montour, a long pass there for Mangiapane. Working it towards the net, hit off the puck by Dobson, adding to that hit total. As now Montour, as we try to reset, but turned over there at the logo. Wahlstrom now will take it in, poked away by Mangiapane, and now intercepted on the centering pass. Now Montour for Besser, as we have numbers the other way. See if we can develop something as Besser hit off the puck. Now holding up Wahlstrom, as that is picked up by New York. Quinn Hughes, and now eventually here for Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson will dump that in. Picked up by Andrew Peak. Now up for Andrew Kopp. Kopp will dump that in, and again giving chase. And there's Quinn Hughes, who feeds that up for Dylan Gambrell. Gambrell was already in the zone, but dumps it in even further as Provorov will backhand pass that for Tom Wilson. Wilson has had a strong game as he perseveres through that hit now into the zone. And he gets a shot on goal and a rebound for Cole Sillinger, as we are all knotted up here from the XL Center. Cole Sillinger on the rebound there to tuck it home. His third goal as a member of the Hartford Whalers. Our last addition to this team, traded for him after the preseason prior to our first game from Columbus. And he's been phenomenal on our 4th line, now up to our 3rd line. As we said, filling in for Leo Carlson, as he's going to be day-to-day, but tremendous efforts early on in this 3rd period by our Hartford Whalers. As Sillinger now 3 goals, tying him with Sami Maki. And there's 3 goals apiece now with 11:53 left in regulation. And maybe we could even snap this point streak here in the late goings. Tom Wilson dumps that in. Now Quinn Hughes, held up again by Rozovic. Razovic ends up with it behind the net and then loses the handle. Razovic has had a very strong game. I feel like our team is just really clicking the early part of the season despite just a 5-5 record. And Cole Sillinger looked like he was tripped up, but I don't see a delayed penalty, as we have not been the beneficiary in that area of this game. As Razovic dumps it in, Quinn Hughes does end up with it over for Bo Horvat, and he's hit off the puck. A big hit there, although New York's still with it. Romanov. Pass there in front for Quinn Hughes. Back for Barzal. Tries to spin a little backhand as Romanov back with it into the zone. Romanov towards the net. A shot. Saved Tarasov for Jacob Perreault off the rebound. Perreault still with it. We'll eventually get that for Denisenko. Denisenko, a shot, rebound. Knocked away. As Guryanov did have it, but Gonzalez now over for Kaiser for the Islanders. Kaiser now for Gonzalez over for Johnson Fahalby. Now back for Gage Gonzalez. And if there's anyone we don't want scoring the late goal against us, is Gage Gonzalez, longtime Hartford Whaler, the expansion pick from Tampa Bay. And now Perreault. Perreault with it, still with it, centering pass for Spence, trying to get a goal there. Guryanov now from the point. Spence again off the rebound. Had a prime opportunity, but Sorokin read that one and was there to slam the door. So Gabriel Landeskog, we see there standing up on the bench, will face his former team, the Colorado Avalanche, tomorrow, as we are going to simulate that one after this game. And now back to the point for Spence. He tried to pass there in front. Maybe should have just tried to risk that one. As Johnson Fahalby poked away by Daniil Chaika. Now Scheifele for Zadina. Zadina over for Gabriel Landeskog. A rip there short side. Easy save by Sorokin. As Kaiser is absolutely rocked there by Landeskog, knocking him to the ice. Setting the tone on the points. With the points on the stat sheet. And with the body. Ritchie, a shot in the glove save there by Tarasov. Clutch glove save. He has not been asked to do too much in this game, but that's the biggest ask we've had for him so far. And we see that hit there. Landeskog just throwing the body around. I thought they might call a penalty on that, but luckily they showed some restraint that time. As now our top line out there against this third line for New York. As they do get the face-off win there. Dobson, a rip from the point, saved by Tarasov. Although the Islanders still with it now. Dobson over for Gambrell, a shot. Pad save Tarasov. And that's going to be a penalty as we're going to get the late power play. Brett Ritchie for tripping there on Sammy Maki. And only our second power play of the game, I believe. We had some good pressure the first time. Could not get one in the back of the net. Hopefully this is the time we do, though. As we'll have our second unit out there to start Andrew Kopp against former Whaler Gage Gonzalez on the face-off. As Gonzalez does win that over for Noah Dobson. And he will clear that out to the neutral zone. Guryanov. A wide pass over there for Brock Besser. Brock Besser, a shot there after recovering. Blocked in front as Timo Meier able to get the clear. So already a quarter of this power play killed off by the Islanders. Guryanov now. Good pass there for Kopp as that's poked away. As Dobson using that reach now. Pelech with it. As again they do get the clear. Picked up by Provorov. Half of this power play already over for Hartford, trying to get that late goal. Mangiapane for Besser now. As Brock Besser into the zone. Centering pass there for Kopp, a save by Sorokin. Mangiapane now back to the point for Guryanov, in front for Besser, and he scores! That just trickles through Sorokin, somehow gets, and I thought he should have tried the extra pass there in front, but somehow we are able to get that puck in the back of the net, and the Hartford Whalers, with just over 3 minutes remaining in this game, take the late lead. Entered this period trailing 3-1, and we now lead 4-3. And it all comes down to these final minutes as we look to snap this 11-game point streak of the New York Islanders. And now with that, Andrew Mangiapane, his 8th point, tying him with Philip Zadina. And I think 7 of Zadina's 8 points have been goals. And now Hartford with their first lead of the game. And it only took until 3 minutes remaining as Wahlstrom now for Brock Nelson. New York trying to get it back. Saved there by Tarasov. Now Provorov will get that out of the zone for the Whalers. Dumps it into the zone. Pelech will retrieve it. Pelech now up the ice. Good feed there for Yamamoto. Had the first goal in this game. Yamamoto now for Wahlstrom. Blocked. Loose puck in front. And that trickles into the corner for Wahlstrom. As that's going to be for Nelson. A good save there by Tarasov. And he will freeze that one with 1:28 remaining. Some late drama here from the XL Center as the Whalers have taken the late lead here. And we are trying to hold on and force the point streak of 11 games to come to an end here against the division rival New York Islanders. And we do get the face-off win that time from Scheifele, as Brock Nelson, a good poke check there, keeps it in the zone. Now Wahlstrom with it. Back to the point. Now over for Quinn Hughes. Yamamoto back for Hughes. A shot there from the point goes wide by Yamamoto. Now Scheifele into the corner. Still does have possession as we are able to get it out. Provorov is taken over there by Barzal now for Quinn Hughes as they do pull the goalie. So the extra attacker out there for the Islanders. 40 seconds remaining. Hartford trying to get it out. Scheifele now for Zadina, just trying to kill some time now. You don't want to turn it over there. Definitely want to get it out as we do. Now Landeskog up for Provorov. Empty net ahead as we cannot get it. And now Timo Meier has some space back the other way. 20 seconds left. Starting pass for Bo Horvat in front. Tarasov on his back. And he's able to cover the loose puck. And the Islanders in disbelief thought they had the chance there. Looked like it was loose in the crease. We'll get another look at it as Tarasov just instinctively just goes to his back and stands his ground. Now 16 seconds remaining. Roslovic on the draw as he caps off his tremendous game by winning that faceoff. Montour now over for Wilson as we get it out of the zone. Wilson tried the empty net, but that was blocked. Now just 7 seconds remaining for the Islanders. Noah Dobson, a last-ditch effort here on the rush. Ritchie over for Quinn Hughes, and he's hit off the puck. 1 second, and they do not get a shot off, and the Hartford Whalers spoil and end the 11-game point streak by the New York Islanders, the top team right now in the NHL, and we put an end to that. A 4-3 victory. What a nice, relentless win we showed here, as we showed so much character and just dominated the entire way. Even though things weren't going in our favor, they weren't going our way. We never said die, and we never gave up. And that persistence, I think we have a lot of trust, a great locker room chemistry this year, which ultimately I think will pay the difference of returning back to the postseason. But what a game here from the XL Center as we take down the top team in the NHL so far, and they're really going 4-3. As we are going to now sim ahead a few more games, or actually maybe more than a few. We'll take a look at the calendar, and I think we will work just real quick and get towards the end of November, picking up with this game against the Avalanche. And then we'll probably go all the way through November, probably here till the 30th against Columbus, or maybe going into December there against Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks, who have had a very good season. But we are now going to sim this game against Colorado and Gabriel Landeskog's first game against his former team, of course, the team that drafted him, where he spent all of his career prior to the offseason trade. So after one period of play, no scoring as we do outshoot them 12-5. And then after two, we're down 2-0. A goal from Nathan MacKinnon and Tyson Jost, who we tried trading for back in the preseason, and we ended up getting Cole Sillinger instead. So Scott Ratzlaff was in net, our backup, as we're down 2-0 heading into the third. And we do get shut out here as Alexander Gorgiev will post the shutout as he stopped all 30 shots he faced. Nathan MacKinnon, 2 points as the second star. So we are set to get Leo Carlsson back here in the next couple games as he heals back to 100%. We're now 6-6 on the year, and Carlsson is now available to play in our next game. But he's still not even 100% healthy, so probably after the next few days he will be ready to be reinserted into the lineup. So we will just keep him as a scratch in this one as he gets back to 100%, as we are going to visit the Tampa Bay Lightning, entering this one at 7-5, as we are 6-6, and we're knotted up 2-2 after the first period. Bernard Docker got it going early on, and then Andrew Kopp and Mangiapane there on the power play, as Braden Point got one about a minute after Mangiapane. So 2-2 after one, and it's still knotted up here after the second period. So like we did in the last episode, we'll take here to the real-time sim as a power play for Hartford killed off by Tampa Bay. Now less than 10 minutes remaining in regulation. We haven't had any post-regulation games yet, and maybe not in this one, as Hagel, the late goal there over Tarasov, but Mangiapane, the captain, gets it back. Now less than a minute left of game time, and we are going to head to our first overtime here in this Year 5 season. And going to simulate this one more in real time, as we're now 2 minutes through overtime. Nothing doing yet. Now into the final 2 minutes, as it looks like we are set for a shootout, and we will just simulate that one quickly as we do get the win here. Gabriel Landeskog, the lone scorer there in the shootout. Mangiapane, a pair of goals for him, as he got that late one to tie it. Also had one on the power play, as our Whalers back over 500, and we are getting Leo Carlsson back now in our first matchup against the Rangers. The first game of a back-to-back, as I believe Tarasov will be in net for this one. Leo Carlsson, as we said, back into the lineup, as we have fared well in recent matchups against the Metro Division opponents. After one period, no score, outshooting the Rangers 8-5. We have been outshooting most of our opponents, I feel like, which is a good sign. Up 2-1 after the second. Blockbuster there on Aiden Hill, last year's Vezina Trophy winner. Mika Zibanejad got one home on the power play, and then Mark Scheifele, a late period goal, gets it back for us, as we will simulate this third period in real time. An early power play for Hartford, nothing doing, as we still have that 1-goal lead. Now out shooting New York 25-20, less than 10 minutes of regulation time. Still hanging strong here down the stretch, as Tarasov has had a very good night in net against one of the top teams in our division, and we come out of the Madison Square Garden with a 2-1 victory over the New York Rangers. You gotta love that. Daniil Tarasov, the second star, stopping 23 out of 24 shots. Mark Scheifele had a goal, and Aiden Hill, as we said, last year's Vezina Trophy winner, as Igor Shesterkin has now moved on to the Calgary Flames, signed a big contract with them. So back-to-back wins now as we host the St. Louis Blues. They're having a very good bounce-back season after finishing towards the bottom of the NHL last year. I feel like they've been towards the bottom every season so far, but now at 9-4-1 towards the top of the Western Conference. 2-0 Hartford after the first period, as we get one early on, 36 seconds in from Mark Scheifele, and then exactly halfway through we get one there from Andrew Mangiapane. And now after the second period, we get three more here, as St. Louis did tie it up early on. Just about 5 minutes in, they made it 2-2, but soon after, Ivan Provorov put us back on top, and then Gabriel Landeskog gets one, and also Andrew Mangiapane on the power play, his second of the game. As we simulate that third period, we almost falter here down the stretch. Christopher Versteeg, one of the top young players on the St. Louis team, on the power play, and then towards the end, former Hartford Whaler Nolan Patrick made it 5-4, but they couldn't net another one. So Scott Ratzlaff in net in this one does get the win. I think his third win in 4 or 5 starts, as 2 goals for Mangiapane, the first star. Landeskog, another pair of points. As we seem to be rolling here in the early goings of this season, you'll love to see it. An injury there at the AHL level, as now a rematch here with the New York Islanders, although they are now hosting us, as they are still atop the Metropolitan Division. We are now at third at 9-6, 18 points so far, and we'll see if we can follow up what we did at the top of this episode, taking down the Islanders with a very strong third period, simulating the first here, as it's tied up 1-1. Mark Scheifele got it going, and then just 42 seconds later, Timo Meier, as Ratzlaff still in net. I thought they would change it, as they did not. Now 3-3, still knotted up here. Romanov and Meier nets another one, as Islanders were up again by the score of 3-1, but as we saw earlier in the episode, resiliency, the recipe for Hartford, as Landeskog, a late one there, and then not even a minute later, Carlsson gets one. So once we get them going, they seem to be flying, as hopefully that is the case here in this third period. We'll do the live sim here in real time, as Denis Gurianov nets one. So just like we saw to start the episode, the Islanders squander a 3-1 lead, as Hartford now up 4-3 here. Less than 8 minutes left in regulation. Can we do it again? Can we steal one against the top team in the Metro and the New York Islanders? As we do, Leo Carlsson, his first goal since returning, and Philip Zadina gets one as we outshoot them 43-26. We go on a 5-goal run, and what a performance we're seeing here against the Metro Division. We fell in the first episode to start the year against Washington, and they've only won like 2 or 3 games all year to this point, but we've beaten the Islanders now twice. We've beaten the Rangers. We've beaten the Penguins. So we are having an absolute good time to start this year 4 season, or year 5 season. And now Leo Carlsson, happy we kept a promise, as we did improve his ice time. But it's kind of lame that we don't get any morale change when we do keep our promise. You know, if we broke our promise, you know, the morale is going down, but no reward there. And it is also worth noting that Scott Ratzlaff was in net for that game, if I do recall correctly. I think Tarasov probably in this one, as we host the Ottawa Senators, one of the top teams in the league last year, as they're now falling a little bit, 7-8-1 to enter this one, although 1-0 after the first period. Morgan Geekie the lone goal scorer. Now after 2, we trail 2-1 Mangiapane again on the power play as he beats Matt Murray, the original goaltender in this franchise, our expansion pick. As a quick one there to start the third on the power play for Ottawa, I think that's Jared Norris, as it's now 3-1 Senators, but we get one back from Andrew Kopp. And I was just about to say, can we rewrite another 3-1 deficit here into the final 8 minutes of play of regulation? Again, out shooting our opponent, this time 36-27. We get the late goal from Jack Rozovic, although Max Pacioretty a minute later puts Ottawa back on top. So a lot of drama in this game from the XL Center as we do outshoot Ottawa 40-28, but they do come away with the win as Morgan Geekie, 3 points, was the first goal scorer in this one, as it was at a 3-game winning streak, I believe, snapped as our Whalers fall now to 10-7, third in the Metro, now set to host the Florida Panthers, who have won their last 10 games, and at 14-3-1, they are now the top team in the NHL. So can we do it again, taking down the top team in the league, as they seem to be clicking on all cylinders, and they do still have Scott Lawton, as they re-signed him. We traded him to the Panthers at last year's deadline. 1-0 after 1. Gabriel Landeskog, the lone goal scorer, as Spencer Knight did come back to Florida, signed a huge contract to remain the goaltender here, but 17 shots in that first period. That is not sustainable, as it is not 4 goals in that second period. They added another, I think, 14 shots, now 31 after 2 periods. Kachuk, Collington, Ekblad, and Barkov, a pair of power play goals here for the Panthers, as we are going to fall 5-2. Brock Besser got a late one, as Scott Ratzlaff would eventually enter the game in relief of Daniil Tarasov. Now, we're facing Seattle, who's 5-13-1 on a 10-game losing streak. So we go from playing a team like the Panthers, who are winners in 10 straight, now to a team who have been losers in at least 10 straight. So hopefully we're not the team to help them get back on track. I believe Scott Ratzlaff probably will be in net for this one, I would assume. Probably should have checked that. As after one, we are trailing now 2-0, as Tarasov's still the goaltender. And I should have switched that. Kakko and Yulf Hedin, I believe he was the 3rd overall pick from 2024. And now assuming the second, we do jump back on top here. Not back on top, but we do get the lead. Logan Thompson, the goaltender here for Seattle now, as Adina got one. And then back-to-back power play goals here from Scheifele and Mangiapane, about 2 minutes apart, as we are out shooting them 31-23 here in the early going of the third period. Trying to hang on here down the stretch and get back in the win column after back-to-back losses. On the power play is Hartford, and Seattle able to kill that one off. And we do get a late insurance goal there. Leo Carlsson from the corner, his second late goal we've seen in a game, as another 40-shot effort from our Whalers. So we're just absolutely dropping bombs offensively every game. You know, with that shot rate, you're bound to score some goals, as Braden Swartz, a top 5 prospect for us down there at the AHL level, will be day-to-day here. And we are set to get our starting goaltender, Yaroslav Askarov, back here in about a week or so. So that is something to look forward to, as we're going to simulate, I think, about 3 more games here and bring a conclusion to this episode and the month of November, as we're now in 2027, set to visit the Winnipeg Jets from the Canada Life Center, a reunion here for Mark Scheifele, who is now in his 4th season with the Whalers. So 7-3 in our last 10, playing some really good hockey here in the early goings of year 4 now at Winnipeg. After the first period, up 1-0, Gabriel Landeskog, the lone goal scorer there on Lankinen. And now after 2, leading 3-1, Mark Scheifele nets one in his former arena. And also Andrew Kopp, I believe a former Winnipeg Jet as well. So 2 former Jets there, as Leo Carlsson, an early one here to start the third period. I think all his goals so far this season have come in the third period. 4-1 here, more than halfway through the third period of play, being outshot in this one. But Scott Ratzlaff in net, having an absolute career night, as our goaltending has held up so well in the absence of Askarov. As we come into Winnipeg and win this one 4-1, we'll take a look at the 3-star Scott Ratzlaff. Have yourself a night. By far the best performance here in his limited sample size of like 7 games at the NHL level. Mark Scheifele and Andrew Kopp, the 2nd and 3rd star respectively, each with a goal and an assist against their former team, as that puts us up now to 12-8. And we're set here versus Nashville. And it's too bad we don't have Yaroslav Askarov in net here against his former team, but we will have to make do, just as we have been doing over about the past 15 games or so in the absence of Askarov. So taking on Nashville here from the XL Center, back at home, winners in back-to-back games, as we'll try to keep the good times rolling here. After one, we are trailing. Philip Forsberg gets Nashville on the board. 1-0 Preds after the first, and they go up 3-0. Novak and Brown each get one, and then Grigory Denisenko, his first goal finally of this Year 5 season, late in the period against UC Saros, and we get just one there in the third period as we try to fight back, but not enough. Mark Scheifele does find the back of the net, but we do fall there at home against the Predators. And now our last game of this episode, we're going to close it out against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who enter at 12-8-1, so a very similar record to us, as we're at 12-9. And let's close this one out with a win, as even as well as we've been playing, we're still out of a playoff spot. And as I always stress, just such a tough Metro division we find ourselves in. Now, after the first period, we are down again 1-0. Logan O'Connor beats Tarasov. And now after two, we are leading now. Andrew Peeke got it going early in the period. Philip Zadina. And then just 35 seconds after him, Leo Carlsson gets one. The rare non-third period goal for Leo Carlsson. And then John Tavares late in the period. As to close this episode out, we will have a little live sim here as a quick one there by Camp. And we had no time to breathe before it was tied back up. And we do get one on the power play. Mangiapane already his 5th power play goal. And again, no time to breathe as Matthew Nye able to get that one in the back of the net. As Hartford had a power play there, nothing doing. 4-4 here in the final 2 minutes, and we are not going to be able to survive as Mitch Marner gets one, and then John Tavares, and then Oscar Lindblom. Oh my goodness. 3 goals in the matter of like 2.5 minutes as Toronto able to blow that one open. 5 third period goals, and we know this team is absolute dynamite when they get going with Marner, William Nylander, and of course Austin Matthews, who they were able to re-sign a couple off seasons ago. We were really hoping he would hit the market and would be able to join our team. But this is where I'm going to leave you folks. Thank you so much for watching. It was a really fun episode as we were able to get some good times. A little bit rough there towards the end with back-to-back losses, but overall now 12-10 to start this Year 4 season, and that is without our our starting goaltender for most of the way. We've been playing very well against our own division here, and it comes down to every single point here in the Metro. Next episode we'll pick it up against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who currently have a 2-point advantage on us for a playoff spot, as we're now about a quarter of the way through this Year 5 season, and the Columbus Blue Jackets kind of like a low-key rivalry here with our Hartford Whalers through this Year 5 season so far. Florida at the top, followed by Carolina, and then Chicago we'll also see early on in the next episode, as we'll visit them, I believe, right after our matchup there with Columbus. But as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.